My name is Courtney Colson, and I survived getting run over by a car. I'm not even joking. I don't remember it, but a lot's happened since my last video, let me tell you. A lot's happened this year, actually. So, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that in February, there was a burglary. Someone broke into my house, took everything, including my car. Thankfully, I got her back. She's okay. Then I got a COVID vaccination and had an allergic reaction to that, so I ended up in the emergency department, and that was awful. Sure. And then there was a power pole outside of my house, actually on my property, that exploded. It was on fire, so there was the fire department outside of my house. The emergency services are all very familiar with me now. And then, in late July, someone tried to kill me by driving over the top of me with their car. I have no idea why. I don't even remember. So it happened on the 22nd of July, and I make furniture, and I start really early and I finish early too, so 7 a.m. to 1 o'clock. And, well, just a couple hours before that, someone tried to steal my bike, Violet. I like that bike. Rest in peace, Violet. But my co-worker, I guess I won't say names, but my co-worker ran up the stairs into the sewing room and said, "Where's your bike?" And I said, "It should be under the stairs, right?" So, he runs down and he stops this kid who's just been circling around, riding Violet, asking people for cigarettes. And thankfully, my co-worker recognized my bike because it's purple, it's 90s, it's very specific. And he caught this kid, and I walked down the stairs, and he's having a go at him, and then the kid's just standing there defending himself, going, "Oh, well, I thought it was near the rubbish, so you were just throwing it out." Yeah, he actually pulled out my hat, which I wear when it's raining, and my mask, which I wear for COVID reasons on the train. So clearly my possessions were in the basket of this bike. It belonged to someone. And I didn't bother locking it up. You'd think I would learn after the burglary, but I just keep assuming the best in humanity, I guess. But, you'd have to come all the way onto our property, go under the stairway, past the bins to the bicycle with all my stuff in the basket. It clearly belongs to somebody. And, yeah, this kid just took it, rode it around, and then almost tried to argue that he should be allowed to take it. So I, called him names, as you do, and told him to piss off, and then called the cops. Don't know if anything came of that. I guess not, because Violet was not long for this world, as it turns out. And that was a really bizarre multiverse moment, sliding doors, whatever you want to call it. Because if that kid had taken my bike, then it would have changed everything that came afterwards. So I think I had about an hour left of my shift. That went fine and got ready to go. I had locked up Violet at that point. I took a photo of her because I thought, when I get home, I'll post on Instagram or wherever and say, "You would not believe the story that happened today." Turns out that wasn't the most surprising or shocking thing that would happen that day. And I wouldn't be posting anywhere on any kind of social media for about a week. So I finished work at 1 o'clock, took some photos, got on my bike, and I don't remember anything else after that. And I try to remember, but there's just nothing. So there's my workplace, there's 4 lanes of traffic, there's a median strip, 4 lanes, and then there's a mosque on the other side of the road. And I'm not saying anything about the mosque or Muslims or anything like that. Some people get a little funny about it. It is simply what it was. It could have been any kind of church or place of congregation. But these guys are ridiculous, and we talk about it all the time at work, because every Friday, it is their busiest day of the week. I don't know why. If anyone knows, I would like to know. But it's like freaking, I don't know, Christmas or Easter for the Catholic Church equivalent. You'd think they'd figure it out. Every Friday, there's not enough parking, and they just flow out into the street. They park on private property. They park in my business's car park. You know, guys, there are ride-sharing services, taxis, buses. There's a bus that goes right outside of that place. No one freaking takes it. So, I mean, it's not dangerous, but it is just such an absurd event every week, and I probably thought absolutely nothing of it. And it is winter right now, and right now it's been non-stop raining. But that day, it wasn't raining, or it wasn't raining hard, as far as I can remember. Although I was wearing my Benetton raincoat, which is just hanging there, and a hat. So it must have been raining a little bit, but not enough to affect visibility. I'm always very safe, you know, when I get out of our driveway. I'm either far on the left or far on the right. So if there's a car coming in or coming out, they're not really going to hit me because I'm way over to the edges. Crossed 2 lanes of traffic, and then I was sitting on the median strip. And I always make sure that I'm not in line with the mosque's driveway either. There's no reason for someone to drive up a median strip directly into me. There's no reason for a human being to do that, right? So I didn't think I was in danger. But I was sitting there, waiting to cross, and I wasn't wearing a helmet because I just didn't think of buying one. It never occurred to me. I don't know why. I probably should have. And in fact, that day, because it was Friday, and I thought as a little bit of a treat, I'm going to buy me some roller skates and, you know, maybe a helmet as well. Because they have all these really cute 70s roller skates just for sale everywhere. I saw them at Target, from here and there. I keep seeing them. I do freaking love Xanadu. Yeah, that'll be great. Well, anyway, as it stands, I will not be rollerblading or skating or anything for some time. I don't even know if I can cycle with this boot on. I guess I should show you. Okay. Got that freaking moon boot. I got a broken leg. So, I'm on this median strip. This guy comes out of the driveway, which is, I don't know why he was leaving, because the sermon session, whatever you call it, was about to begin. It was 1 o'clock. And that's when everyone's congregating there. So I don't know why he was leaving at the time. That strikes me as strange. And again, I want the full story. I'm a storyteller. I want to know. So he runs me over, and according to witness, I end up under the car. And I think he must have come from this direction, because I'm now deaf in this ear. It's not permanent, they think, thank God. And as a podcaster and music lover, it's frustrating that I can't hear properly. But yeah, so he must have hit me on this direction, sent me flying. I hit my head really hard here. I've got 2 fractures on the inside here, which I'm very lucky. There's no visible damage, although I didn't get video of it. But for the first couple of weeks before they gave me steroids, I was kind of doing that dull blink thing. So one eye would blink before the other, and I couldn't smile. It's symmetrical now, but this side was just completely sort of, like a stroke victim, basically. That side just wasn't responding properly at all. But yeah, so I smashed my head there, obviously. It was a lot of blood coming out. There's a lot of fluid in there. I just had a hearing test yesterday, and they said the eardrum's still vibrating. It's still working. There's just crap inside that canal. And a couple of nights ago, much to my mum's shock and horror, I went, Mum, come here. There's something. There's a lot of pressure, and there's brown fluid coming out. There's obviously dried up blood. And then she had a look, and she screamed, because they'd put a sponge in there, and it popped out, because I've been blowing my nose. I got a cold as well, and I apologize for any choppy editing. It's probably me just stopping to blow my nose, a cough, as if I couldn't suffer enough. It's just fucking, I am very tired, but I am filming this video today because I am mostly home alone. My brother's sleeping, hopefully, in the other room. I'm not waking him up. But yeah, I'm staying with my family right now, and I really wanted to talk this out and let the world know what happened. Especially when you have a near-death experience, you feel like, oh my god, if I don't record this in the next few days, I could freaking die for another reason. I don't know, a meteor could come from the sky. I could slip in the shower. I don't know. And then this story will be not told and not archived. And no one will know what happened to me. So, yeah. Getting back to the accident itself. So, damage on that side. And I should have been wearing a helmet. I will go buy a helmet if I am able to ride bicycles again. And then the wheel of the front tire, we think, went over my leg. So I'm knocked over, hits me on that side. That's what goes under the car. And apparently on the inner ankle, my leg bones just come out. It's just shattered. And there's a scar on my knee. My knee's fine. My knee doesn't hurt at all. But there's this horrible scar. I'll put a photo there. And that was sliced open. Maybe Violet did that. I don't know. And I don't know where she ended up. I guess she was completely destroyed. I don't know. I only had that bike maybe a year. And I don't know. I guess I would say I'm an animist. I feel there's a kind of a soul, a spirit in all things around us. And, I make furniture. I kind of feel like the furniture has its own energy, its spirit, whatever you call it. And so when it comes to my car or my bike, I give them names. I love them very much. And, well, rest in peace, Violet, I guess. I guess she ended up much worse than I did. I only got into a serviced maybe a few months before that. Jeez. But I don't remember any of this, but apparently I was just lying there on the road, screaming, bleeding, bones and guts sticking out of me. And this dickhead who ran me over didn't stop. He just drove away. And the police have tracked him down, thank God. He's an elderly man, doesn't speak English. They needed a translator to even communicate with him. And, he accelerated into me. He didn't see me at all. Instead of braking, he just sped up. And I don't know the particulars. I guess we'll learn more as the investigation continues, and he will have to pay a lot of money to compensate me for what is frankly the most suffering I have ever experienced in my life. This is the worst pain I've ever known. I didn't know pain went up to 11. I thought there was a limit, but no, this is it. At least the emotional pain isn't. Actually, I would say the burglary was the worst emotional pain. Because it was just such a shocking violation. Someone went into my space. And they took Ivy, my car, who I love more than anything. And while I've been staying in this house, I've been checking the home security camera. Just checking on Ivy, making sure she's okay. But yeah, ambulance soon showed up after the incident. The driver never stopped or checked on me. He didn't care. They think he might have dementia, in which case, okay, this is the insane thing in Australia. If you are not an Australian citizen, you've come from whatever country, you can keep driving on your license. And we will not check on you. You could be here for decades. We will not check if you've got dementia or you've lost your eyesight or... No, apparently the Australian Department of Transport just says, go ahead, keep on driving until you kill someone, I guess. Funny enough, I've got a co-worker and she's from Argentina. And she's here temporarily. She is not a full-time citizen. And she's driving around on her Argentinian license. And she's saying, oh, I want to become an Australian citizen. I really love it here. Fair enough. Pretty good place. But I have to go through a driving exam again. And, I'm going for my driving exams a lot lately. I think I'm up to my 6th one, which I've had to cancel until January. Hopefully, I can drive by then. But, she's saying, oh my God, it's so strict here. It's so difficult. I don't know if I could do it. So a lot of foreigners come here and apparently just continue to drive on whatever license. And so there's a guy like the one who nearly killed me who doesn't have his mental faculties anymore. And our Department of Transport is not investigating that. And so when I'm better, I think that's something I'm going to lobby for, or, petition. Change these rules. That's not safe. I nearly died for no reason. And it was the most bizarre thing to wake up about a week later, think about on the 29th, and I'm in hospital, and I remember just violently vomiting, uncontrollable. And I was vomit free since 2003. I was very proud of that. But no, I'm sort of vaguely aware of I'm in hospital and I'm vomiting. Don't know why. And that's about it. And then maybe a few hours or a few days later, who knows? And then I remember, I think I left hospital on the 29th. So a couple of days before that, I just remember, I'm sitting in a hospital bed, and one of my friends from uni and another one of my coworkers, they were both visiting me, and I had no idea where I was, what was going on, and I was told I was hit by a car, and it just didn't make any sense. Well, how did that happen? When? And I actually didn't think that I was driving my own car. That actually never occurred to me. Because I think now, my first thought, oh my god, is Ivy okay? Did I get into a car accident in my car? But no, I just wasn't really fully registering anything. That was the first time I was even making memories again. So apparently, when the ambulance picked me up, I was just, they say, hysterical was the exact words. And I'm not that kind of person. Usually when I'm in a lot of pain, I just go quiet and I'm just, get into the fetal position, and I guess I die now. No, apparently I was just screaming and I was in a lot of pain, and I couldn't communicate with me at all. So it must have been really, really bad. And they gave me ketamine. And no, I don't suggest taking ketamine, because it will just knock out all your memories for a week, and you'll have dreams, nightmares even, that God is punishing you. That's all I remember. Apparently, I told my mom this as well. She was coming in to visit me every single day. Poor thing. Her devotion was absolutely unnecessary, because I remember none of it. Yeah, so one of my other co-workers calls my mum and says what's happened. So she goes to the hospital. Shitty hospital. I won't name names, but it's just the worst one in Perth. It's just bullshit. They had me listed as unknown female. I had my backpack on when I was in the accident. They still had my backpack. In my bag was my purse. In my purse is my driver's license, my proof of age card, my Visa card. My fucking name is everywhere. And yet this hospital had no idea who I was. So my poor mother rushes to this hospital, says, "Where's my daughter?" Dunno. Who is she? Courtney? Colson? Fucking bullshit. So eventually they rub two brain cells together and realize, unknown female. Even though she has her fucking purse on her. Oh my god. Royal Perth. I'm gonna say Royal Perth Hospital is bullshit. The staff is very nice. They do the best they can, but it is so disorganized. The building was built in the 1950s or 40s. It is so impossible to navigate. I hate it. And that's where I was taken. For a moment there, my mum worried that I was still under the name Connor Colson, which thankfully I wasn't. But on that point, I just want to say that I, since waking up, have been so angry about all those years I wasted transitioning. I can absolutely say, without a shadow of a doubt, that it was not worth it. All those years living a lie and being in this cult that almost pushed me away from my friends and family entirely. When I was a man, I wasn't talking to my family. I rejected a lot of my previous friends. This cult isolated me and put me in a really horrible position, and I'm just so lucky that even though I've gone through this really horrible accident, it happened when I was surrounded by friends and family, and I'm mentally stable. I am living as my biological sex. That did not interfere with me getting the medical attention I required, life or death medical attention. And to think I could have died or been left alone for some stupid bullshit fantasy. I could never become a man. And in that pursuit, you could very easily die. And I will never get those years back. I've learned something, at least, but an experience like this makes me realize, Jesus Christ, it can end at any moment, and for what? Did I make myself happier or more complete or the real me? No. It was all a lie. And I'm mad as hell. When Mum first got there, they said there's bleeding in my brain. They don't know what state I'm going to be in or if I'm going to be permanently disabled. So just a horrible thing for any parent to have to hear. But thankfully, that was fine. I was conversing, apparently. I was very affectionate with my mother, I'm told. I mean, so she claims. You know, I kept holding her hand, saying, I love you. Really? I'm an asshole. I don't do that. But yeah, I was just very kind of chill, spaced out for about a week. I don't remember any of it. And then I wake up and I'm vomiting, and then my friends show up. I remember my friends, so at least there's that. The one I went to university with, she's on the autism spectrum, and we'd actually planned a few days before she came to the hospital. We were supposed to go fabric shopping because I'm going to make a Marge Simpson costume. It's going to be very classy. You know, she's going to be the Chanel outfit. I'm going to make it look really realistic and really can't wait to work on that when I'm well enough. But yeah, we're going to go to a fabric store, and she had not heard from me in days, and I see in my messages, I'm on my way now. Are you here? What's going on? She went and didn't confirm that we were still on for that day or anything. She hadn't heard from me for days. She didn't think that was weird. And then she sent me an email that night. Are you dead? Well, nearly. Turns out. So yeah, eventually she contacted one of my other friends, a photographer friend of mine, and then he said, oh, yeah, I haven't heard from her for a while. So then he contacted my mum, and then Mum said, oh, yeah, no, legit, she's in hospital, nearly dying. So everyone found out, so that's good. And, oh god, my ears popping sometimes. It's great. I'm either hearing my own fucking heartbeat all the time, which is awful. Drives you insane. There was a Radiolab episode a long time ago about a woman, I think she had heart surgery, and she could suddenly hear her heart all the time. Not great. It's not a great situation to be in. It's right now, though, can't really hear the heartbeat. I'm hearing just a tinnitus, hum, and then occasionally there's a pop. Hopefully that passes and I can go back to my career as a podcaster. How am I supposed to edit myself? I can't freaking hear myself. But, yeah, Royal Perth. It was horrible staying there. Again, the nurses were very nice and they did their best, but, I mean, they were feeding me laxatives, which one night I got out of bed because I could feel it. It's coming. And they've put the guardrail down, and I've fallen out of bed, and I've called for the nurse, and no one's responding. A lot of the time I put that beeper on, no one comes. And one time a nurse came in and even told me off. Oh, well, you can't just leave that ringing forever. I need assistance. What are you talking about? And I hate asking for help. I hate relying on other people. I like being independent. I just don't like putting my faith in other people or trusting other people to do what I need to get done. You know, I'll do it myself. It's fine. Well, in this case, I've had to rely on other people, my family as well. And I know they mean well, I know I need it, but I fucking hate it. I hate relying on anyone else, because I can do it better. I should be able to do it. I'm strong. I'm independent. And now, you know, I'm disabled and weak, and it's the story of my freaking life. I have one health issue after another, because if you're familiar with this channel, you know, I had autism or all the symptoms of it, so I was disabled from about the age of 11, and then I got chronic fatigue syndrome when I was 21, and there was at one point where I needed a wheelchair to get around because I was so sick. And I was getting healthier, you know, I was nearly up to working full time. I do 6-hour shifts a day, and, you know, cycling to and from work actually broke my record. I cycled for 13 kilometers a few weeks before the accident. And now I'm back to square one. I have to go through a long, painful healing process. Again, why? No reason. Dude had never met me. This guy doesn't even know my name, doesn't care that I'm alive or dead. Didn't even see me, quote unquote. Didn't see me. It's just fucked. But, yeah, so at the hospital, they would leave me in my mess for hours. And they had a catheter in there, and sometimes when I was halfway, I'd try to pull it out. And for a little while after that, when they removed it, I'd have bladder issues too. I'd almost get to the toilet and I'd already start to pee. It was just constant diarrhea, and so as a result, when I left hospital, I was in so much pain in my entire groin. I mean, front and back, it was just dry, burned up skin. It's stomach acid burned me down there, because no one was cleaning me often enough, and they were giving me laxatives for who knows what apparently because one of the medications they put me on can cause constipation, so they were concerned about that. But I only eat 1 meal a day, and I eat the carnivore diet. I don't eat fiber, so my bowel movements look like deer droppings or rabbit droppings anyway. I only go maybe once every couple of days, so they're treating me like a herbivore, and I'm not. In hospital, they were mostly feeding me chicken, either steamed or boiled. It actually wasn't bad, and I wasn't having a reaction to it, which is unusual because chicken normally, I sort of have an allergic reaction to it because it's usually grain-fed, and so that passes on to me. There's enough of the grain element in their body for me to actually have a reaction to. But otherwise, I was very anxious to get home, and I mean, they didn't really convey to me the severity of what had happened to me. I didn't really understand. I had broken a bone in my leg, and it shot out the side of my foot, and now there's a metal titanium bolt or something in there now. I mean, this whole situation is ironic that I was transhumanist and, wanted to augment my body and change myself, but all of a sudden, I never asked for this. I now have a kind of augmentation, and this piece of machinery, of metal, is within me now. And, I detransitioned. I had come to accept my body, and I was getting healthier. I was healing. So for this to happen to me is just cruel irony. It couldn't have impacted anyone who was already overcoming so much and slowly coming to accept my body. But I mean, there are days now that I don't even recognize this body anymore. I'm in so much pain. I'm covered in all these rashes. I don't know if it actually shows on camera. No, not really. But my whole body, I don't know if I'm having a reaction to the medications or what, but I'm just covered in rashes. I feel disgusting. I can't even bathe myself easily. I can have a shower, but I need Mum's help to replace this, and dealing with a broken leg. It's awful. I hate being in this body all over again. I've overcome so many psychological issues, body dysmorphia, only to be thrown back into it again. But I feel that at least mentally I'm in a better place than when I was trans. I was insane. I really was. But as I've mentioned in other videos, I am a mechanophile. I have a sexual attraction to cars, specifically. All machines, robots and stuff like that, but cars are specifically the thing I'm most attracted to. And yet I was run over by a machine. So, if you've ever seen Cronenberg's Crash, or the book by J.G. Ballard, that's basically what I'm living in now. And going back to the whole ketamine thing, when I was just coming to, I think I was having these bizarre, nightmarish fantasies. And I told my mom about it. It's just like, God is punishing me for my unnatural attraction to cars. And apparently I was saying it very loud, and Mum was very embarrassed. I mean, this woman is quite prudish. She was even reluctant to give me lube, because I needed lube down there because of all the stomach acid burns on my genitals. She was like, oh, you don't need that. fuck, what else? I got Vaseline? What am I supposed to do? This is burning. I am in actual pain. But anything to do with the body and sexuality and genitals, she doesn't want to talk about it. She's very, well, not puritanical, just squeamish. But yeah, she knows I'm a mechanophile, and before that instance, I mean, she doesn't approve of my relationship with Ivy, for instance. But yeah, I guess I was just having these tripped out dreams of, yes, because I was doing that with my car. This is God's way of punishing me for my unnatural ways. But yeah, I do think about Crash, the J.G. Ballard story, of Cronenberg's version, whichever one you prefer. Just this weird life-imitating art kind of thing of, really, of all people to get run over for no reason, it was the mechanophile who has some very complicated feelings about cars. And again, I want to know, what kind of car was it? Is it a car I'm attracted to? Or is it not? That makes a difference. But, so on my final day there, I was just begging to leave. And again, they didn't tell me what this really entailed, or the collar, or the moon boot, I think they call it. But when I was leaving, I realized I have to use a Zimmer frame to get around, those old people freaking things, and how dangerous a situation I was in. If anything happened to my neck, I could be paralyzed, I could die. Okay, why did no one tell me this? Thankfully, I've got a mate. He sold me a sewing machine, actually, on Gumtree. We became really good friends, and I've converted him to the Church of Saab. He's bought a Saab convertible now, so. But he is a trained EMT. So he came over, and so when Mum finally, the hospital finally let us leave, we were sitting around for hours, and they said, "Oh, well, we need to discharge you." Okay, but what does that mean? Why is this taking so long? But eventually at night, they let us go, and I was taken by wheelchair to Mum's little red Mazda. The suspension of that thing is just shite. I mean, if you're not disabled, it's fine, but oh my god, the car ride home, just going, oh my god, I'm so nauseous, oh god, It was a bit of a journey to my house. I think it was about half an hour, 20 minutes, and my god, you feel every little bump on that car. And it was kind of upsetting, because I went, well, how long is it going to feel like this? Is this just because I'm wearing this? How long is being in a car going to make me so nauseous? I love cars, I love driving, and I can't even drive my own car. But the hospital discharged me, thought that I could stay by myself. I live alone. They knew that, and they said, "Hey, you can go." Okay. So Mum takes me home. Well, I was having to find a pharmacy that was open at that time. I think they let us out at about 8:30, 9 o'clock. So trying to find a pharmacy that's open. So then we had to do more driving. I'm feeling absolutely sick as hell. Need to go home. Need to go to the toilet. But then I have to sit for about half an hour when Mum's in the pharmacy, and then they're explaining, oh yeah, she's going to need this and that. It's just to go home. And then Mum needed to pee as well. So then when I get to my house, open the garage, there's Ivy. Nice. Don't really have to say hello to her, because we're both, my mum and I are just like, okay, you go first, and then I gotta go. Oh god, I'm dying. And then Tim shows up, and he's a trooper. He stays the night, just in case I need anything, and helps me set everything up. And actually, in the middle of the night, I had to wake him up, because I had a shower, in my own shower, the last shower I had in my wonderful, beautiful shower. I miss it. Oh, what a good shower that was. Anyway, there's moisture, not in the moon boot itself, because I took that off to have a shower, but the bandages were really sweaty in the middle of the night, and I didn't know what that was. So I woke him up, and he redressed my bandages, and he was great. And then Mum says, apparently, that Tim says that I woke up a couple of times, and I was having panic attacks. I have no memory of that. So then Mum and Tim decided, well, Tim packed up my bed, this bed, brought it to this house, This is one of my brother's bedrooms, actually. He moved into my bedroom when I used to live here, because it's bigger. But, yeah. We moved a lot of my stuff out of my house, and then I've been staying here for a couple of weeks, and I get it. I get practically that they can help me do things, grocery shopping, going to appointments, and all that. But I like being independent. I like being alone. I like being with my car and my garden, and all my clothes, my makeup. All I've got is this red lip gloss. Doing the best I can. But yeah, it's funny. Even those little nice things, part of a routine. Even, oh my god, being able to wash my hair in hospital, it was just like steel wool. They did not know how to treat it properly. I don't know what they were washing it with, but it was just like wool. It was so dense, and you couldn't brush it. And they tried brushing. Like, please, dear God, stop! Because they're going from the root down. Like, no, tip up! Oh my God, you gotta work your way up, because this is just, oh Jesus. Then one of the male nurses, he said, you look like Farrah Fawcett, because I had the sort of flicks going on. So okay, that's not so bad. You just can't run your fingers through my hair. But yeah, so Tim betrayed me and moved me into the solitary confinement. Okay, it's not that bad, but I do kind of feel like a bit of a prisoner here. I can't leave whenever I want and do whatever I want, but I guess if I was living alone, I couldn't do that anymore either. But at least all my things would be there. So that first night in my own house, I was okay, actually. But the weeks since in my family's house, there's definitely been some ups and downs, and I mean, the pain's been really bad. Especially, well, before they put me on the steroids, Mum's been really good, just advocating for me and talking to doctors, saying, well, she needs this, that, and the other. So, they didn't want to give me any other pain medications. And so I should say. So I was staying with my family, and a couple of days later, I went back to the hospital. They removed the stitches in my leg, and God, it's so, it's really thick. The scar tissue is really, I mean, I guess it's healing, but it's just really tight, and it's not flexible and there. But they removed the stitches, and that was fine. But she talked to the doctor and said, well, look at what's happened to her facial muscles. What are we doing? And I mean, there was so much pressure behind my eyes. It was a really bad headache, and it was like my brain was pushing against my eyeballs. And I since detransitioning, I've cried a fair amount, but for many years I didn't cry at all, and then this past couple of years I've cried a lot, and especially these past couple of weeks, I have never been in so much pain that I've broken down sobbing like that. It's and I wanted to film this video for a long time, because I kind of feel this is a bit of a therapy for me, but I did not even have the strength to do that, and I keep coughing because I've still got this sore throat, which we'll get to that in a minute. But oh my God! But they put me in the steroids, and that was really good. I suddenly felt a lot stronger, a lot better. They were made me nauseous as hell, and it made it hard to eat. But I felt stronger. My facial muscles, it's an anti-inflammatory as well. There wasn't so much pressure behind my skull, which is a horrible thing to say, but yeah, that's what was going on. So it helped me that week or so of taking the steroids and the anti-inflammatories. That really did make me feel better. But it's just the lack of aftercare that Royal Perth sent me out into the world, thought I could look after myself. I can't. Didn't tell me that, oh, by the way, if you fuck this up, your neck will snap and you'll die. Oh, cool. No one told me that. And that's why I'm really lucky to have friends like Tim, who knows what he's doing. He helped me put this on that first night. And he did say they're son of a bitch to put on it. This is so annoying to live with. It's like having one of those, collars when you castrate your dog. Big old cone. So, where were we? They gave me the steroids, removed the stitches, and then I had to wait a couple weeks to see the ear, nose, and throat clinic, which we did yesterday, and they just said, yeah, the hearing should come back in a few months. Okay. Anything else? Thankfully, the pain for the most part is pretty manageable, but yesterday, Mum was pushing me around in a wheelchair, smashed my foot into a door, And I was just in agony for the rest of the day, and I couldn't walk on. Well, I mean, I don't really walk on my broken leg, but I couldn't even, using the Zimmer frame to get around, I couldn't even put any kind of weight on it. Today is pretty okay, but yeah, about last week, I had a really, really bad sore throat. Couldn't talk at all. And I just thought, what is this now? What is going on? Is this an allergic reaction to some of the medication? I don't know. No, got a cold. Really bad one. I mean, I'm surprised I can talk now. I keep having to stop to drink water, so I apologize for all the choppy editing. But yeah, it's been going on for over a week, and you think there's a limit on suffering at any particular point, but no. I have had a cold and a broken leg, and fractures in my head, so I had to blow my nose because my nose was running constantly, and it making the eardrum pop and just hurting my head, and just fuck me. It was really the lowest point of my entire life. I just wanted to die. I kind of felt like, well, why didn't they just leave me on the road? Why did my family just put a pillow over my face? Just end it. This is excruciating. But you adapt, you do. It's not the end of the world. I'm very lucky to be alive, and a lot of my friends say, I'm so glad you're still here. Yeah. I gotta remember that sometimes. While I've been healing, actually, I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. And I got a lot of that going on lately, but weirdly, that's become such a personal experience, that game. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the whole thing is this deep exploration of pain and trauma and loss. I mean, the game starts, you wake up in a hospital, you've been in a coma for all these years, you don't remember what happened to you, and your body's disfigured. You don't recognize yourself. And through the rest of the game, other characters that were in previous games, they've lost limbs, they've been severely injured and disfigured, and so when I played it, I found it so upsetting. Again, I love playing this game. Every day I want to go more into this world and explore it. I think because it's maybe one of the few stories right now I'm really connecting with. I'm not really watching a lot of TV. I'm not reading a lot. It's amazing. These days just pass by so quickly. Just trying to do the basics: cooking, cleaning, bathing. I write a journal every day just to sort of help me recontextualize everything that's happened to me and remember everything in order. But yeah, Phantom Pain. It's a game I got secondhand at a pawn shop, I guess they call it, or the cash converters, and it's ignited this fascination with Metal Gear. And a friend of mine loaned me his PlayStation 2, which ended up getting stolen. So I did play some of the games on PlayStation 2, but I should try to replace that for him. And hey, with the money I get from being run over, maybe I will buy him a very nice PlayStation 2 and the Metal Gear box set. But yeah, I bought Phantom Pain because I'm really curious about Metal Gear. I've never played any of them. And then my mate Alex, who loaned me his PlayStation, he said, no, don't start there. Start from the beginning, you'll do it in order. And then another friend of mine, Phil, we're going to do a Metal Girl Solid podcast at one point, eventually. One woman's journey through the Metal Gear franchise. But no, Phantom Pain has actually come into my life at just the right time. I played a little bit of it before my last laptop was stolen, the whole burglary and all that. And then I didn't play it for ages. No, actually, I did play a little bit of it, Phantom Pain on PlayStation 4 before all that was stolen. I've got a gaming laptop now, it's pretty great. And I did download Phantom Pain a few months ago. I played a little bit of it and then just didn't touch it again. But since I've been recovering, yeah, it's just, that is putting so much of my experience into context, and it's kind of a weird catharsis of, I feel so much for these characters, and I'm going through everything these characters are going through, although not to the same extreme. Seeing them continuing on and functioning. There's a future after even worse injuries than I've been through, but Yeah, I mean, there's a line. It became a meme at one point. Why are we still here? Just to suffer on? Yeah, yeah, cuz I'm feeling it. I'm feeling exactly like that. I'm not like them. I'm not a soldier or a spy or Tinker Tailor soldier spy. Anyway, I was a civilian crossing a road. I was just going home for lunch and maybe buying some cute roller skates. That's all I had in my mind. And yet, I went through probably what will be the most awful experience of my entire life. It doesn't get worse than this, probably. I think I can point to 2022 years from now and go, well, that was the worst year of my life. It can't get worse than this, hopefully. Fingers crossed. What god did I piss off? I swear, I must have done something. Maybe it was my sinful ways. Being transgender once. Having sex with cars. I don't know. And that's the thing too, this guy nearly killed an innocent woman, and he has no idea the trauma he's not only putting me through, but my family, my friends. And, I mean, I'm a woman. I could have had a miscarriage. I could have been pregnant. He didn't know. He doesn't care. I don't even know if his brain works at all. It's the most senseless violence in the world. It's so pointless. I have to spend the next however many months healing bones, learning to walk again. When will I get to drive my car? I love Ivy. I love driving my car. And well, at least Tim has a 900 turbo from the 90s as well. So when he brought me to my house, I got to see Ivy briefly. And the Saab actually did not make me nauseous at all. There's something about the aerodynamics, the way that car is made. We were driving, good 40 minutes each way from my house to my family's house. Was never nauseous once. It was wonderful. It was one of the few days there was no rain, so we had the top off. It was beautiful. Maybe it wasn't Ivy, but yeah, those cars are just smooth as. And Tim's other car is a Pajero, which he took me to my house the first time in. Oh my god! Again, much taller, higher off the ground. You sway a lot more, and that was making me so nauseous. And then Mum taking me home from the hospital yesterday from the ear, nose, and throat clinic. I was so nauseous, and I had all this pain coming back that I didn't think I was gonna have again behind my eyes. So, yeah, I'm obviously not okay. I'm not gonna be okay for a long time. And the other thing too is, I spontaneously got my period after I was in the accident. I don't know if the ambulance drivers were asking me, or the doctors or whoever, but someone asked me, oh, were you due for your period today? And I said no, even though I looked at my calendar and actually I was due that day. So it happened like clockwork, but it also happened, apparently, it can happen. You can get your period after a traumatic accident, so there you have it. And yeah, they had to check, did you have miscarriage or anything like that? And again, that's horrible. That if that happened to me, and some dickhead had just run me over, didn't check on me, doesn't care. You've taken maybe 2 lives in that instance. Jesus Christ. And the other good thing too was when I was talking within the first few hours of them collecting me, I was able to tell them my exact height, measurements, and all of that from memory, and could even convert it from, say, I'm 5'3". Oh, that's 162 centimeters. I was able to do all that very naturally. I mean, as a seamstress, costume designer, whatever you want to call me, classically trained costume designer. Yeah. Having to flip between metric and imperial and remembering lots of measurements of lots of different actors. That's pretty instinctive. So that part of my brain is still fine. I haven't found that I've had too many issues. I mean, I've always struggled with reading and just reading comprehension. I'm very slow, but I have been reading Cycle of the Werewolf. I have somewhere around it. A Stephen King book I ordered a little while ago. Really cool art. I've been able to read that just fine. So I haven't had any cognitive issues. I'm playing video games, all that, no issues whatsoever. Oh yeah, and I should say that when Tim took me back to my house, I sat in Ivy, of course, and put my foot on the clutch. That was fine. Left was fine. Moon boot's so massive, so it was touching the accelerator and the brake at the same time. So it wasn't. That's not happening. But eventually, I'll heal. I'll be able to drive like normal. It feels impossible right now because I'm just constantly plagued by pain in that leg, which I think is just, I don't know, bone healing over titanium. That's probably not going to be comfortable for anybody. And again, I don't really have a lot of aftercare here, but apparently it can be about 10 weeks that I'm trapped in this boot. This thing, I mean, you can't wash these things properly. It's disgusting. I feel so gross. I haven't washed my hair in several days. But yeah, I'm slowly just accepting that I'm normally a very active, productive person, very independent, and chronic fatigue took that away from me for a while, and then I was slowly getting that back again, and it's been great living alone and learning to drive and all of these things. And then this cruel irony of forcing me to go through this healing process again, a different one, but I just feel like I'm trapped at square one. And I have to accept I'm not okay, and I'm not going to be okay for a long time. Mentally, everyone says I'm doing pretty well. I think I am. All things considered. A lot of it's just not fully absorbing the reality of the situation. And yeah, I am slowly processing it by playing Metal Gear. But yeah, it's... How do you wrap your mind around dying? I essentially died. I nearly died. I mean, they didn't have to resuscitate me or anything, but just the idea that I could have been killed in that moment. And there's no awareness. There's no, I don't know, tears in the rain speech. You don't get to lie there and think about it or be cognizant of your own death. There's no, I don't know, postscript of, oh, I died, now I'm in heaven, or there's, I'm coming towards the light. There's nothing. There's nothing. And when I do die, it's probably going to be the same thing. If I'm here 1 minute and then you're not thinking anymore. You're not conscious. You're not in the world. And you have no warning. And in a previous video, I actually said that I had a lot of anxieties about death or loss because I was just developing emotions for the first time. And now, having nearly died, ostensibly, I'm not really scared of death anymore. I just kind of feel that... It's not that I don't feel anything's real. It just kind of feels that, oh, yep, that's what it is. That's what life and death is. It's here 1 minute, gone the next. It begins, it ends. No fanfare, no reason. It can just be a total freak accident. I could just be sitting here and just have a stroke. Yep. That's reality. So, I don't know, am I at peace with life and death as it is? I don't know. It's too early for me to really say anything definitively. I'm just in shock. I'm just in a state of disbelief of everything that's happened. But I will keep you apprised of any developments. But yeah, stay safe. Wear a helmet. Look both ways before you cross the road, I guess. Don't trust anyone. Until next time, see you, Space Cowboy.